Let us pray. Spirit of wisdom, life, and peace, bestow blessing this day on these dedicated students who come here to be recognized for completion of advanced study. With family and friends and faculty mentors in attendance, we gather to honor these graduates for their achievements, their promise, their commitments, and for finally finishing. Each one here has been on a journey. For some, it has been longer than anticipated. For others, more difficult than expected. And for all, it has been a time of challenge and self-discovery. Today, it is not assignments, projects, and exams that draw our attention. Today, we celebrate that these students have committed themselves to the unending chore of asking questions, waking to wonder, thinking independently, and creating a community where each can find and all can offer support in the work of continuing learning and colleagueship. For the challenges met, the missteps corrected, the failures confronted and overcome, we give thanks, and we honor both the visible and sometimes hidden achievements that have brought so many here today. We ask this day that those who graduate might pledge to keep their minds open, curious, and always a little skeptical. May they adapt to change even as they assume roles of leadership that will doubtless create change for others. Grant them courage, wisdom, and energy for such labor as awaits. Be with them as they celebrate, for they have earned this moment by their hard work and many accomplishments. But guide them as well that they might take their learning and use it wisely to address the needs of a fragile planet too often in conflict. May they offer hospitality to those they meet on life's way. May they welcome the diversity of all that is around them, and may they contribute to the effort all of us must make to be building a world of greater justice, compassion, and peace. Be with us, we ask, in this moment of recognition, joy, and celebration. And so we say with grateful hearts, Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Joseph Helbley, 15th President of Lehigh University, and on behalf of the university and of the Board of Trustees seated here behind me, including Board Chair Vincent Forlenza, I declare the graduate commencement and doctoral hooding exercises to be open. It is my great pleasure to introduce the Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs of Lehigh University, Nathan Urban.
Thank you, President Helbley. On behalf of the entire campus community, I want to welcome all of our guests with us today, including the families and friends of our graduates, our speakers, and members of the Board of Trustees. We are truly proud to celebrate the master's and doctoral degree graduates of the class of 2024. Those of you who are receiving your doctoral degree today understand that the intensity of your program, coursework, research, exams, dissertation, creates an especially strong bond between graduate students and their faculty advisors. Your faculty mentors and doctoral advisors are here today, as are we all, to celebrate your achievements. And master's candidates, your hard work and persistence in your educational journey is to be congratulated and celebrated. To all of our graduate students today, we wish you much success as you continue in your careers. It is now my honor to begin these exercises by introducing our student speaker, Ugochinyere Nancy Oloyede, who will receive her doctoral degree in organic chemistry today. Nancy, from Lagos, Nigeria, studied organic and industrial chemistry in the University of Ibadan. She graduated summa cum laude in 2015 and went on to complete her master's degree in 2017. To continue to expand her impact as a scientist, Nancy followed the research to Lehigh, where she has been working with Dr. Robert Flowers, the Herbert J. and Ann L. Siegel Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. A sixth-year PhD candidate in organic chemistry, Nancy develops and studies metal-mediated reactions in chemical synthesis as part of the Flowers Research Group. Her work includes investigating ways to better synthesize molecules that could be the building blocks for antiviral drugs. Nancy is a recipient of several awards, including the Graduate Achiever Award from the Honor Society and the German Academic Exchange Fellowship from Exceed. At Lehigh, Nancy has been a member of the Graduate Student Senate representing the Department of Chemistry. She's also been a graduate student ambassador and a judge at the Lehigh Valley Science Fair. In 2022, she founded the Lehigh University Graduate Association of Nigerian Students, serving as its first president. This past year, she was chair of Graduate Student Outreach for the Global Union. Nancy is a member of the American Chemical Society, the American Institute of Chemical Engineers, the Honor Society, the National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers. Please join me in welcoming Ugochinyere Nancy Oloyede.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed faculty, distinguished guests, and my fellow graduates. It is an honor to stand before you today as your student commencement speaker. I am indeed privileged to address this distinguished audience and to represent the voices and experiences of my fellow graduates. To our mentors and professors, thank you for your unwavering support and dedication throughout our academic pursuit. My special appreciation goes to my advisor and mentor, Dean Flowers. Your wisdom, support, and encouragement have been instrumental in shaping my path to success, and I'm forever grateful for the impact you had on my journey here at Lehigh. And to my fellow students, my friends, and colleagues, congratulations. We made it. We survived sleepless nights of study and lab sessions fueled by pizza and caffeine. We made it through the lows of failed experiments and the excitement of research breakthroughs. Now, I won't mention all of those rejected manuscripts and having to emotionally recover from critic responses from peer reviewers. And more often than not, it's usually that one peer reviewer amongst many. But hey, at least we have a nice piece of paper to show for it. Now, I would love to address one of the big questions I often encounter, particularly from the undergraduates and my fellow grad students. This was also a question I often asked myself during grad school. The question is, was graduate school worth it? Now, as someone who has spent more time in the lab than at any other place, including my bed, I'm here to give you an answer, hopefully. Yes, I said hopefully because let's face it, we all had our initial reasons for coming to grad school. For some, it is a stepping stone to get to the next stage in our career goals. To some, it is a way of figuring out what we actually want to do in life. To some, it was because we couldn't get a good paying job after our first or second degree. And to others, it was about breaking barriers of generational norms. For me, I think part of the reason I came to grad school all the way to the US from Nigeria was probably to avoid doing the dishes at home. Then I came to the US and got a free, brand new dishwasher with a lifetime warranty in the form of my husband. It was a great deal. Regardless of our reasons, we all had to go through this turbulent ride through the complexities of our minds. Sometimes or some days we question every life decisions that actually brought us here. I certainly did. And other days we feel like a superhero ready to save the world, one experiment and one day at a time. But jokes aside, despite our reasons for coming to grad school, it has been a journey of self-discovery. We have been able to make meaningful, lifelong connections and lots of gray hair. I certainly stopped counting mine. We have been able to push the boundaries of knowledge as we knew it, making huge strides in our respective fields. We should all be proud of that. So to all the graduates sitting here before me today, I say this: follow your passions and pursue fulfilling careers. Try to make positive impact in your community, prioritizing self-care and maintaining a good work-life balance. Embrace continuous learning, either through professional development or life experiences. And remember that you are more resilient, stronger, and much more smarter than you thought you could ever be. So to answer the question, was graduate school worth it? Absolutely. Now, I know I will get some differing opinions, but like I said, I'm just here to answer a question. Now, I said absolutely because it wasn't just about the rigors and stress of being a grad student. It was about our shared experiences and the lasting impact we made in the Lehigh community. It was about our cultural exposure and the opportunities we had to meet people from diverse ethnic and cultural backgrounds. It was about the experience of growth, of resilience and camaraderie that will stay with us for a lifetime. The Igbo tribe from eastern Nigeria, where I am from, are famous for the proverbs. Therefore, I'll end with this proverb that says, Ugo characha anahe chuechu, which translates as a mature eagle feather will forever remain pure. This means someone who is well-trained will always stand the test of time. I believe that we have been well-trained, we are well-rounded in our various areas of expertise, including professionally and even our personal lives. And because of this, I'm confident that we will stand the test of time. Congratulations once again, graduates. Now let's go forth and conquer the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, and congratulations. We wish you great success in your career. It is now my privilege to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Stephen Tang. Steve is a veteran leader in the life sciences industry. He is an author, corporate advisor, and a philanthropist who serves on several nonprofit boards. Currently a principal at Tangent to Cogent and board chairman at Now Diagnostics, Steve is the former chairman, president, and CEO of OraSure Technologies, a Bethlehem headquartered global leader in rapid at-home health diagnostic tests. He is also an author who has told the story of OraSure's spin-out from Lehigh University, its growth, and most importantly, its role in and operations during the COVID-19 pandemic in his book, A Test of Our Time, Crisis Leadership for the Next Normal. Before his time at OraSure, Steve served a decade as president and CEO of the University City Science Center, the nation's first and largest urban research park in Philadelphia. He also serves on the boards of Lehigh University, the William and Mary Foundation, Population Services International, Team Pennsylvania Foundation, and Life Sciences Pennsylvania. Steve served as board chair of the Committee of 70, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to improving Pennsylvania government functions. He was the first person of color to hold that position in the organization's 111-year history. He also co-chaired the U.S. Department of Commerce's National Advisory Council on Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Steve has been honored with many awards for his leadership, including Lehigh's Outstanding Entrepreneur Award in 2022. Steve holds a PhD and master's in chemical engineering from Lehigh, an MBA from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, and a bachelor's in chemistry from the College of William and Mary. He was also awarded a doctorate of humane letters from Philadelphia University, now known as Thomas Jefferson University. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Lehigh PhD graduate, Dr. Stephen Tang.
Thank you, Provost Ervin. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed graduates, and fellow survivors of the academic gauntlet, and those that love them. I was hoping you could help me drive away in the rain a little bit here. So if you could please help me celebrate all these hard-earned degrees by channeling your inner rock star and helping me recite these words. It's really easy. Ready? I've paid my dues. Time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime and bad mistakes. I made a few. You got it. I've had my share of sand and kicked my face, but I've come through. What's the next line? We are the champions, my friends. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm overjoyed to be with you here today. Even wrapped in plastic with your umbrellas, I see bountiful, blissful, beautiful faces. So congratulations to you all. I want to thank the Lehigh University community, my fellow trustees, faculty, staff, and students for this incredibly special honor. Like many of you gowned and awaiting your degrees and hoods, I did the same things at Lehigh that you did. Ate many sandwiches at Goosey's. Complained about students complaining about their teaching assistants. Hung out too late, too many times at Tally Ho, and budgeted a paltry stipend to the penny every month. So think of me as your future self, right? So Marty McFly visiting you back from the future. On the one hand, my Lehigh experience differs from yours in some way. Both my grandfather and my father had PhDs. So imagine the pressure from 2 generations of scholars. My father's PhD work was cited in my textbooks here. That's a little intimidating. And my father and uncle were both awarded NASA Lifetime Achievement Awards. That's just incomprehensible. Now, my family doesn't have a coat of arms, but if we did, it would have a spaceship and brain on it because my relatives literally do rocket science and brain surgery. And the crest would also have the 3 chevrons of the doctoral gown, right? The chevrons represent the 3 pillars of scholarship: curiosity, honesty, and courage. Undoubtedly, I had the privilege of that legacy throughout my life, and I've tried to channel that into service back into higher education. But even with that robust academic heritage, my Lehigh grad student experience was extremely challenging. And that's why I salute those of you who are first in your families with advanced degrees, especially if you're an international student or the child of immigrants. I'll give you a round of applause. Congratulations and well done. So you see, it's no wonder I sought to transcend the weight of intergenerational expectations in my career. I wanted to be different, and I wanted to stand out in my own way. And maybe you feel the same way for different reasons. I found cultivating a quantum leapfrog career path explains how ordinary people get extraordinary opportunities that have lasting impact. Now, before I explain all that, I want to acknowledge that there are basically three types of graduation speakers: superstars, pioneers, and everyday humans. It's a bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. First, there's a superstar, the big-name star everyone wants to see. They're like Papa Bear's porridge with healthy sides of glitz and glamour. So last year, C.J. McCollum, Lehigh's own one shining moment basketball star and journalist, played that role. So you're early, you're late. And some lucky graduates got some selfies with him. Next, we have the pioneer, the successful graduate who's pushed back the frontiers of knowledge in the universe. They're like Mama Bear's porridge, perfect, with a blend of amazing and gravitas. You want that? Come back tomorrow. Here's Scott Willoughby share his fantastic journey of leading NASA's James Webb Space Telescope program. Why does NASA have to show up in my life so often? Finally, we have the everyday humans, the sojourning graduate whose life resembles Forrest Gump's incredulous path from football star to war hero to shrimp boat owner. That's me. And just like Baby Bear's porridge, we're the just right choice for oddly relatable postcards from the edge and maybe nothing more. See, my legacy at Lehigh started modestly when I was the first person ever at Lehigh to submit a PhD dissertation produced on a Macintosh computer. Hey? Some people remember Macintosh. So I got that going for me. So Mac forever transformed how people interacted with technology. But my dissertation, not so much. While my faculty advisors pursued cutting-edge engineering studies on mammalian cells and plant cells, I chose research on wastewater sludge. After graduation, most of my grad student friends went to glamorous faculty and industry jobs, and I stayed here in the Lehigh Valley for 31 more years. Thank you. One of my neighbors, thank you. When I received my doctoral degree, my only career aspiration was to become a research manager someday, but that never happened. Instead, my journey mirrored Alice's adventure in Wonderland. I dived into the rabbit hole of innovation and entrepreneurship, exploring the inner workings of for-profit, nonprofit, government, and academic sectors. And they taught me a great deal about making big decisions. And I got to make a few, and they impacted many people. So throughout my 42-year journey since arriving at South Mountain, I've been privileged to serve as CEO and chairman for over 30 years. I navigated the world of top leadership and corporate governance as fascinating as Wonderland, with its Mad Hatter tea parties, Cheshire Cats, and Queen of Hearts. Now, I want to put my fellow trustees at ease, Chairman Florenza. None of those monikers I used to describe Lehigh's Board of Trustees. So looking back on it, I wondered what happened. As a scientist and engineer, I knew no laws of thermodynamics were broken in my career path. But that doesn't explain the eclectic and random experiences I had. Then I realized my career was like a game of leapfrog governed by quantum physics. I lived the quantum leapfrog life with a lot of unrelated moves that seemed bizarre to the naked eye. So picture two frogs leaping over each other, right? They take turns leading and following. That's classic physics. You can follow their paths like a straight line or a curve. They're like my college roommate Jim, who just retired after 42 years at AT&T. Now, I don't know what's more amazing, that he worked for one company for that long, or that the company remained intact for 42 years. That's an extreme classical leapfrog career, and it probably won't happen for you. I mean, can you imagine writing only one resume for your entire career? Hard to imagine. But in quantum leapfrog, things can seem crazy and unpredictable. One or both of the frogs can appear anytime, anywhere, at different places. This is how your career can be, full of surprises and exciting challenges, which only make sense to you. My career journey has been wild, filled with quantum leaps that would make Schrodinger's cat dizzy. From abandoning Catholic priesthood plans to study chemical and biomolecular engineering here at Lehigh. From changing academic disciplines from science to engineering to business, to switching industries many times, and jumping from a nonprofit to a public company CEO. These unconventional pivots were the essence of my quantum leapfrog career. And you can do it too, as an everyday human. If your academic degree inspires you to learn more and is more than just a credential. If you continue to invest your hard work into curiosity to change the world and learn new skills and approaches. If you're humble because luck plays a key role in your success and you know it. And the most crucial insight that hit me like a bolt of lightning, striking Einstein's wild white hair, what truly matters can't always be measured. It's a paradox, Einstein said. What counts can't always be counted. Life is more than numbers. It's more than the numbers of working years, the amount of wealth, the accolades of career accomplishments. It's about leaving a legacy of kindness, compassion, empathy, and service to higher causes. For you graduates, I hope you'll find big ways and small ways to save the world and to savor the world. And when you're my age, you can both retire and reach higher so that you can save and savor more of the world. Now, in my book, A Test for Our Time, I reflect on the collective experience we had during the pandemic. I emphasize the importance of accomplishment, service, and integrity. Now, while none of us want to relive the pandemic era, I think it's crucial to embrace the valuable lessons it taught us. One key takeaway is harnessing geometric growth to our advantage, to ensure we're better prepared for challenges and opportunities. Imagine geometric growth through Alice's Eat Me cake and Drink Me bottle from Wonderland. It caused rapid changes in her size from giant to Lilliputian back to giant. This explains how the coronavirus and artificial intelligence are transforming our world. Geometric growth, like the trillions of cicadas joining us above ground this year, happens when something multiplies quickly. It's hard to grasp. We're used to slow, steady growth and struggle to envision massive change. We all know that COVID-19 grew exponentially, causing widespread illness and tragedy. Yet scientists harnessed the geometric power to create vaccines and tests rapidly. My company learned and thrived in this chaos in quite unexpected ways because we cared deeply for each other and what we were doing. AI, too, is evolving at breakneck speed, posing potential challenges, but also offering solutions to global problems like climate change, disease, and poverty. As we navigate our own wonderland, we must recognize the potential of geometric growth to create and solve challenges. And just as Alice learns to adapt to her ever-changing size, we too must adapt and harvest this powerful force for good. So make sure your quantum leapfrogging harnesses this geometric energy. And remember, the greatest geometric energy is love. Political and cultural commentator David Brooks recently visited Lehigh and proposed an interesting idea. Universities should teach students to love. I couldn't agree more. Cultivating love and encouraging character development is essential to higher education and for everyday human life. In 1988, as I received my PhD on this very stage, I paid tribute to my late father, Walter, and embraced my mother, Helen, and then my advisor, former Lehigh Provost, Arthur Humphrey. Today, I'm immensely thankful to have my 88-year-old mother, Helen, with me here today, and my 96-year-old advisor, Arthur, watching the live stream from Maine. During my 42 years since earning my PhD from Lehigh, Arthur Humphrey has been a father figure and super mentor, teaching me the importance of love and loving others. I hope today's graduates find and become valuable mentors, advancing the virtuous cycle of love and support. And while we're at it, let's show some love for all provosts. They're the unsung heroes of higher education. Am I right about this? So especially Provost Nathan Urban and former Provost and our President Joe Helbley. Show you some love. You don't have to look too far in the news today to know that their jobs are more difficult and essential today than ever before, so thank you. Here with me today is my daughter Helena from the Lehigh class of 2022. She's a Corona Eris alum. Bo, my son, who carries both the Tang and the Humphrey names, and my wife, Jill. They've taught me the power of love and resilience. And as you watch from afar, I'm feeling your loving presence. Lauren, Rob, Remy, and Nico. The life lessons I've spoken to today are rooted in my family's love and nurtured by our Mountain Hawk community. They inspire me to live, lead, and love wholeheartedly. It's a class of 2024 advanced degree recipients. Here's my big finish. I know it's been no bed of roses, no pleasure cruise. So consider your challenge before the whole human race, and you'll never lose. So whether you become a superstar, pioneer, or everyday human alum, I wish you a quantum leap career. Find the immeasurably valuable in your world. Harness geometric growth. Explore your wonderland. And love wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this celebration. You are the champions. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for those thoughtful words and that inspiring message, for reminding us that the ordinary can not only do the extraordinary, but can be the extraordinary, and that not everything that counts can be counted. Thank you.
We now come to the primary reason that we're here today, the conferring of degrees earned during the past academic year. All degrees conferred today are awarded upon the recommendation of the faculty with the approval of the Board of Trustees of Lehigh University. We will recognize each candidate by name. The doctoral candidates will be hooded by their advisors. We respectfully request that all candidates remain in their seats until called upon and return to their seats after being individually recognized. Thank you in advance for this cooperation. We'll be offering a traditional handshake to all of our graduates. If you're more comfortable with a fist bump or wave, we'll take our cues from you. I now recognize Robert Flowers, the Herbert J. and Ann L. Siegel Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences.
Will the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the College of Arts and Sciences please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in a field of specialization, and upon recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees is presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the Doctors of Philosophy with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite the doctoral degree recipients from the College of Arts and Sciences forward to be individually recognized. Mashael Al-Shamari and Dr. Jedlika, please come forward. Mashael earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Applied Mathematics. The title of Mashael's dissertation is Properties of the Global Solutions of a Two-Dimensional, Incompressible, Dissipative, Quasi-Geostrophic Equation. Mashael will be hooded by Sabrina Jedlika. Colin Barker and Dr. Daroff, please come forward. Colin earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Physics. The title of Colin's dissertation is Femtosecond Laser Fabrication of Optically Active Single Crystals for Quantum Networking Applications. This dissertation is being recognized by the Stout Dissertation Award. Colin will be hooded by Dr. Volkmar Daroff. Mohammed Bilal and Dr. Landskron, please come forward. Mohammed earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry. The title of Mohammed's dissertation is Advancing Supercapacitive Swing Absorption of Carbon Dioxide through Electrode Design, Charging Protocols, and Oxygen Stability Studies. Mohammed will be hooded by Kai Landskron. Laura Early and Dr. Cremonini, please come forward. Laura earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Physics. The title of Laura's dissertation is Holographic Techniques for Strongly Coupled Matter. Laura will be hooded by Sierra Cremonini. Shasha Fen and Dr. M, please come forward. Shasha earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Biology. The title of Shasha's dissertation is Ligand Activation Mechanisms of Transient Receptor Potential Ion Channels. Shasha will be hooded by Wanpil M. Patrick Grubbs and Dr. Simon, please come forward. Patrick earned a Doctor of Philosophy in History. The title of Patrick's dissertation is The Rise and Downfall of the Pennsylvania Coal and Iron Police. Patrick will be hooded by Roger Simon. Shay Martin and Dr. Young, please come forward. Shay earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry. The title of Shay's dissertation is Combining Experiment and Computation to Solve Complex Problems in Photochemistry. Shay will be hooded by Elizabeth Young. Caitlin Mercer and Dr. Nikopoulou, please come forward. Caitlin earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology. The title of Caitlin's dissertation is Frogs Don't Wear Sweaters, the Influence of Anthropomorphized Characteristics on Children's Biological Learning and Reasoning. Caitlin will be hooded by Agaliki Nikopoulou. Amanda Portoff and Dr. Stavola, please come forward. Amanda earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Physics. The title of Amanda's dissertation is Vibrational Spectroscopy as a Probe of OH and OD Centers in the Ultra-Wide Bandgap Semiconductor Beta Gallium Oxide. Amanda will be hooded by Michael Stavola. Danielle Smith and Dr. Rasa, please come forward. Danielle earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Physics. The title of Danielle's dissertation is Flux Compactifications and Intersecting Sources. Danielle will be hooded by Tim Rasa. Sunghoon Kim and Dr. Im, please come forward. Sunghoon earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Biochemistry. The title of Sunghoon's dissertation is Computational Studies of Bacterial Membranes and Substrate Interactions. Sunghoon will be hooded by Wampil Im. Mitchell Vaughn and Dr. Haas, please come forward. Mitchell earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Biology. The title of Mitchell's dissertation is Mapping Electrically Coupled Networks in the Thalamic Reticular Nucleus. Mitchell will be hooded by Julie Haas. Laura Walter and Dr. Napper, please come forward. Laura earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology. The title of Laura's dissertation is The Influence of Social Norms and Goal-Related Constructs on Environmental Intentions and Behavior. Laura will be hooded by Lucy Napper. Sine Portlet Zugnu and Dr. Gill, please come forward. Sine earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology. The title of Sine's dissertation is Encouraging Racial Justice, How Learning About Historic Black-White Allyship Can Disrupt White Americans' Disinvestment from Racial Injustice Communication. Sine will be hooded by Dr. Michael Gill. Andrew Venzi and Dr. Stavola, please come forward. Andrew earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Integrative Physics. The title of Andrew's dissertation is Exploring Hydrogen Impurities and Their Interactions in Gallium Oxide and Tin Oxide. Andrew will be hooded by Michael Stavola.
So Nancy Olayede and Dean Flowers, please come forward. Nancy earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry. The title of Nancy's dissertation is Titanosine Redox Catalysis, a Sustainable System for Organic Radical Transformation. Nancy will be hooded by Robert Flowers.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts and Master of Science in the College of Arts and Sciences please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for graduation and upon the recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees is presented to you to receive the Master of Arts or Master of Science.
Candidates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts or Master of Science with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the master's degree recipients with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite the master's degree recipients from the College of Arts and Sciences forward to be individually recognized.
Colin Mitchell Bowers.
Noel Martinez.
Elizabeth Marie Bumbarger.
Noel Martinez. Noel Martinez.
Erica Marie Cowper.
Jessica Cheyenne McNo.
Nicole Brianna Improda Hill.
Rachel Holland Thornton. Casey Schlack. Deeksha Parikh. Ashley Rose Pastor. Hannah Regan Pirelli. Emmanuel Kwasi Zonu. Melinda Marie Westfall.
Daniel Moleski.
I now recognize Georgette Chapman Phillips, the Kevin L. Clayton and Lisa A. Clayton Dean of the College of Business. And I have to acknowledge that this is Georgette's last year celebrating commencement as she is retiring effective June 30th. Thank you very much, Georgette, for your 10 years of service.
That's why I'm smiling. Will the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the College of Business please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in a field of specialization and upon recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees. They are presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the Doctors of Philosophy with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite doctoral degree recipients from the College of Business to come forward to receive their degrees individually and be recognized. Nawar Naeem and Dr. Shu, please come forward. Nawar earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Economics. The title of Nawar's dissertation is 3 Essays in Applied Macroeconomics. Nawar will be hooded by Xin-Yi Chu. Andy Wang and Dr. Dearden, please come forward. Andy earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Economics. The title of Andy's dissertation is 3 Essays in Microeconomics. Ilya Kukev and Dr. Rahman, please come forward. Ilya earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Business and Economics. The title of Ilya's dissertation is Essays on Job Search and Labor Markets. Ilya will be hooded by Ahmed Rahman. Binjing Zhu and Dr. Meyerhofer, please come forward. Bingjing earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Business and Economics. The title of Bingjing's dissertation is Essays in Health Economics, Habit Formation, and Physician Referral. This dissertation is being recognized by the 2024 Stout Dissertation Award. Bingjing will be hooded by Chad Meyerhofer. Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Science in Applied Economics, Master of Business Administration, Master of Science in Business Analytic, and Master of Science in Management please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirement for a master's degree in a field of specialization and is presented to you for recognition of that degree.
Graduates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Science in Applied Economics, Master of Business Administration, Master of Science in Business Analytics, or Master of Science in Management, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize these master's degree recipients with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite the master's degree recipients from the College of Business forward to be individually recognized.
Salvatore DeGrazio, Nathan Lepore, Onur Gencar Atesh,
Robert Allen Patterson III,
Divya Balasubramanian,
Jonathan S. Roof,
Brian Douglas Beck,
Daniel Marjanku,
Rawia Abu Rabia,
Daria Malinowska,
Cora Strohecker Klauser,
Marissa Rios Scarrato,
Sewa Cujo,
Rebecca Adele Rose Wagner,
Andrew Leh Fetterman,
Gabriela Renata Ruiz Leonard,
Liam Edward Fogarty,
Hyung W. Min,
Dinesh Goodla,
Catherine Lawn Martin,
Bakruz Kamalov,
Parima Ribeiro,
Hao Lai Chen,
Brian Austin Stafford,
Shimrit Gerstein,
Jiakia Yam,
Catherine Forrest Michaels Harger,
Zhuowei Wong,
Justin M. Hawk,
Sabrina Melham,
Michelle Ann Keller,
Mary Villegas,
Shannon Marie Hartley,
Jensen Rose Viksoric,
Priscilla Asan,
Amelia Visioli Celebi,
Judy Ann Heft,
Joshua L. Prywes,
Kyle Anthony Frieda,
Dong Yan,
Natalia Butsky,
Seren Constantine Messam,
Raymond Patrick Hankin, Olusegun Ayotope Lowell, Mark Ladrapier, Meng Xiao Liu, Kevin Brune,
Mruduma Ravada.
Neil F. Gagno.
Gabriella Scheel.
Amanda Dunbar.
Liz Geraldine Munoz Villanueva.
Patricia J. Denicola.
Juan Francisco Ramos Salas.
Jiaxing Chen.
Christopher Robert White.
Maxwell Jacob Levine.
Olivia Josephine Perone. Patrick James Williams.
Jamie Rachel Behar.
Mackenzie Coffee Porter.
Ethan Daniel Behar.
Cassandra M. Marty. Cheryl T. Kewen.
Emma Parrish Eberhart. Marissa Rose Liberty. Ming Yuan Gao. Diem Feng Ha Huyen. Hao Bo Chen. Dean Lewis Colton.
Yifu Tang.
Kelly He.
Jawar Moran. Hajar Mohammed Sabil.
Jinwan Chen.
Tian Yi Chung.
Li Yong Chu.
Madeline Jane Blumquist.
Colton Thomas Smith.
Regina Amelinda Christie.
Manushri Devendra Patankar.
Rohil Harish Bingarde. Priya Darshini Danda.
Jia O.
Yuhan Chang.
Sanchita Sharad Renee. Xiaoshan Zhou.
Yang Lu.
Jianming Wang.
I now recognize William Godelli, Dean of the College of Education.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Education and Doctor of Philosophy please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Education or Doctor of Philosophy in a field of specialization, and upon the recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees, is presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Education or Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the Doctors of Education and Doctors of Philosophy with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite the doctoral degree recipients from the College of Education forward to be individually recognized. Jae-hyung An and Dr. DuPaul, please come forward. Jae-hyung earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Jae-hyung's dissertation is STEM Interest and Achievement in High School Freshmen with ADHD, Polysystemic Predictors. Jae-hyung will be hooded by Dr. DuPaul. Congratulations. Jacqueline Borse and Dr. Van Norman, please come forward. Jacqueline earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Jacqueline's dissertation is Examining the Relationship Between Reading and Math Within Year Growth on STAR Assessments. Jacqueline will be hooded by Ethan Van Norman. Ray Chen and Dr. Kern, please come forward. Ray earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Special Education. The title of Ray's dissertation is Social Media-Based Social Skill and Safety Skill Intervention for Autistic Adults. Ray is being hooded by Lee Kern. Alicia Chunta and Dr. DuPaul, please come forward. Alicia earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Alicia's dissertation is Stress, Attributions, and Affiliate Stigma, Profiles of Parents of Young Children at Risk for ADHD. Alicia is hooded by Dr. DuPaul. Lisa Grossbauer and Dr. Bodson, please come forward. Lisa earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Teaching, Learning, and Technology. The title of Lisa's dissertation is Calculus Gate, the Impact of Self-Beliefs and High School Math Experience upon Performance on College Math Placement Exams. Lisa will be hooded by Al Bodson. Congratulations. Yael Gross and Dr. Mans, please come forward. Yael earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Yael's dissertation is Evaluating Child, Parent, and Family Predictors and Moderators of School Readiness for Young Children with Asthma. Yael is hooded by Patricia Mans. Congratulations. Megan Hauser and Dr. Hochbein, please come forward. Megan earned a Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. The title of Megan's dissertation is The Women in the Principal's Office, a Mixed Method Study of Principal Time Use and the Gender Divisions of Household Labor. This dissertation is being recognized by the Stout Dissertation Award. Congratulations, Megan. Paula Jones and Dr. Hochbein, please come forward. Paula earned a Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. The title of Paula's dissertation is The Alignment Between Principal Perception of Fieldwork, Pennsylvania Leadership Standards, and Acting Administrator Responsibilities. Paula is hooded by Craig Hochbein. Samantha Kelly and Dr. Kern, please come forward. Samantha earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Special Education. The title of Samantha's dissertation is Checked In or Checked Out, a survey regarding positive behavioral supports. Samantha is to be hooded by Lee Kern. Milim Lee and Dr. Mans, please come forward. Milim earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Milim's dissertation is The Moderating Impact of Child Maltreatment Risk Factors on the Relation Between Early Head Start Home Visitors Wellness, Family Engagement, and Child Outcomes. Milim will be hooded by Patricia Mans. Natalie Lynn Luna and Dr. Liang, please come forward, and Dr. Cardenas as well. Natalie earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Counseling Psychology. The title of Natalie's dissertation is Cumulative Trauma Among Latin Individuals, Exploring Post-Traumatic Growth as a Coping Mediator Using Structural Equation Modeling. Natalie is being hooded by Dr. Cardenas and Dr. Liang. Congratulations. Brittany Reese and Dr. Hochbein, please come forward. Brittany earned a Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. The title of Brittany's dissertation is Changing Times, Changing Reputation, an Organizational History of William Allen High School, 1960 to 2020. Brittany is being hooded by Craig Hochbein. Eve Root and Dr. Caskey, please come forward. Eve earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Counseling Psychology. The title of Eve's dissertation is The Role of Ageism, Aging Anxiety, and Death Anxiety in Understanding Trainees' Therapeutic Expectations and Interest in End-of-Life Care. Eve is being hooded by Grace Caskey. Congratulations. Teresa Rosenberger and Dr. Liang, please come forward. Teresa earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Counseling Psychology. The title of Teresa's dissertation is A Mixed Methods Approach to Understanding Teacher Stress and Psychological Help During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Teresa is being hooded by Chris Leong. Marisa Soleil and Dr. Mans, please come forward. Marisa earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Marisa's dissertation is U.S.-born Latin Parenting Practices, Ethnic Racial Socialization During the First 4 Years of Life. Marisa is being hooded by Patricia Mans. Katrina Stetson-Ulan and Dr. Kangas, please come forward. Katrina earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Teaching, Learning, and Technology. The title of Katrina's dissertation is Preparing In-Service High School Mathematics Teachers to Support English Learners, a Multiple Case Study. Katrina is being hooded by Sarah Kangas. Caitlin Warren and Dr. Hochbein, please come forward. Caitlin earned a Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. The title of Caitlin's dissertation is The Evaluation of High School Mentorships and STEM Careers. Caitlin is being hooded by Craig Hochbein. Congratulations. Christina Washington and Dr. Dever, please come forward. Christina earned a Doctor of Philosophy in School Psychology. The title of Christina's dissertation is Context Matters, examining the impact of context on youth mental health and school functioning within an incarcerated population. Christina will be hooded by Bridget Dever. Congratulations, Christina. Kaylee Ziltz, Pearl, and Dr. Hammond, please come forward. Kaylee earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Teaching, Learning, and Technology. The title of Kaylee's dissertation is Design and Application of an Instructional Intervention for Introductory Programming Aimed to Address the Gender Gap in Computing. Kaylee is being hooded by Tom Hammond. Will the candidates for the degree of Educational Specialist, Master of Education, and Master of Science please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for Educational Specialist or the master's degree in the field of specialization, and upon recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees is presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Educational Specialist, Master of Education, or Master of Science, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the Educational Specialist and Master's degree recipients with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now bring the Educational Specialist and Master's degree recipients from the College of Education forward to be individually recognized.
Samantha Jo DeVitro Timberman.
Farat Mata Musa.
David Joseph Doherty. Cassidy Lynn Larkin. Allison Lillian Huff. Clarissa Victoria Lowe. Erica Nicole Jenkins. Paula Lindley Padilla. Rachel Bewick.
Aaron Mendoza Laud.
Isaiah Jelani Jennings.
Nadine Musa.
Emily Jean Hostetter.
Jacqueline Sarah Musselman.
Alexia Sky Dre. Jakara J. Grant. Carla A. Contreras. Jessica Ray Del Corso. Amy L. Emmerich.
Gabrielle Daly Schneider.
Jacob C. Huffman.
Gloria Saw.
Lauren Madison Kovacs.
Emily Catherine Ratliff.
Kenzie Shea Feldosky.
Rose Kylie Rush.
Emily Ann Donahue.
Christian Matthew Santos.
Wan Yi Hu.
Christine Florence Samuel Maynard.
Ayane Kidda.
Sonia Lee Sigley. Netta Eunice. Brooke Amber Zigmund. Samantha Ioana Tricariotis. Ryan Thomas Sullivan. Paige Ashley Rockhill. Caroline Maria Miersva.
Jamie Dayrise Menendez Solorzano.
Rael Ashley Shuey.
Lucy Lee. Polly Carson Litz.
Chi Mung Yin. Kira Scarlett Smith. Ting Yi Wang. Shannon K. Shafroth. Aubrey Baird Tucker. Lena Marie Freisinger Polliard. Chisum Faith Onwuegbu. Anna Grace Zink.
Sarah Lynn Christie.
Joshua Dylan Resnick.
Chloe Conahan.
Raven J. Shellman.
Jenna Nicole Cavalier.
Tabitha Savas. Tyler Elizabeth Wilson. Janelle Irene Vadalin. Kayla Marie Massington. Lamaris Linnell Mendoza. Kaylee Amelia Wilson. Zarana Keval Patel.
I now recognize Stephen DeWorth, Dean of the P.C. Rawson College of Engineering and Applied Science.
Will the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the P.C. Rawson College of Engineering and Applied Science please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in a field of specialization and, upon the recommendation of the faculty and by a vote of the Board of Trustees, is presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the Doctors of Philosophy with our hearty congratulations and applause. Michael Honor and Dr. DuPont, please come forward. Michael earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Science and Engineering. The title of Michael's dissertation is PWHT-Free Cast Stainless Steels. Michael is being hooded by John DuPont. Mary Therese Burton, Dr. Chan, and Dr. Harmer, please come forward. Mary Therese earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Science and Engineering. The title of Mary Therese's dissertation is Mechanism-Informed Design of Complex Nanocrystalline Nickel Alloys for Enhanced Hardness. Mary Therese is being hooded by Helen Chan and Martin Harmer. Justin Casper and Dr. Ostekin, please come forward. Justin earned a degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Justin's dissertation is Characterizing Performance Enhancement in Vacuum Membrane Distillation Using Computational Methods. Justin is being hooded by Alp Ostekin. MD Istihaq Chowdhury and Dr. Strandwitz, please come forward. MD Istihaq earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Science and Engineering. The title of MD Istihaq's dissertation is Exploring the Synthesis Structure, Property Relation of Inorganic Nitride and Oxide Thin Films. MD Istihaq is being hooded by Nick Strandwitz. Huan Sheng Chen and Dr. Jaworski, please come forward. Huan Sheng earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Huan Sheng's dissertation is Noise Generation of Graded Poroelastic Edges from Vortex Rings. Huan Sheng is being hooded by Justin Jaworski. Joseph Klein, Dr. Snyder, and Dr. McIntosh, please come forward. Joseph earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Science and Engineering. The title of Joseph's dissertation is Electron Microscopy Characterization of Chalcogenide-Based Quantum Dots Prepared via Low-Temperature Aqueous Phase Synthesis Routes. Joseph is being hooded by Mark Snyder and Steve McIntosh. Pedro Costa Armand and Dr. Mored, please come forward. Pedro earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Pedro's dissertation is Hydrodynamics of Schooling, Stability and Performance of Oscillatory Swimmers at High Reynolds Numbers. Pedro is being hooded by Keith Mored. Shinyo Trey and Dr. Jagoda, please come forward. Shinyo earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Bioengineering. The title of Shinyo's dissertation is Mesoscale Models for Virus Cell Adhesion. Shinyo is being hooded by Anand Jagoda. Xiao Chen Chin and Dr. Jedlicka, please come forward. Xiao Chen earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Bioengineering. The title of Xiao Chen's dissertation is Advances in Cell Therapy and Chip-Based Engineering, Innovations in Tumor Models, Gene Delivery, and Pathogen Detection. Xiao Chen will be hooded by Dr. Jedlicka. Yutong Dai and Dr. Robinson, please come forward. Yutong earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial and Systems Engineering. The title of Yutong's dissertation is Structured Sparse Optimization. Yutong is being hooded by Daniel Robinson. Shivani Desai and Dr. Brown, please come forward. Shivani earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Chemical Engineering. The title of Shivani's dissertation is Rheologic Characterization of Covalent Adaptable Thioester Networks for Tissue Engineering Applications. Shivani is being hooded by Angela Brown. Jordan Greenland and Dr. Pearson, please come forward. Jordan earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Polymer Science and Engineering. The title of Jordan's dissertation is Polylactic Acid Modification to Impart Toughness and Biodegradation Enhancement, Elucidation of Mechanisms. Jordan is being hooded by Ray Pearson. Mark Herndon and Dr. Jaworski, please come forward. Mark earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Mark's dissertation is Analytical and Computational Analysis of Perturbed Finite Core Trailing Vortices, including Transient Ground Effect. Mark is being hooded by Justin Jaworski. Sung Han Kim and Dr. Im, please come forward. Sung Han earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Bioengineering. The title of Sung Han's dissertation is Computational Studies of Biological Systems and Nanomaterials and Their Applications. Sung Han is being hooded by Wanpil Im. Hao Dong and Dr. Jagoda, please come forward. Hao earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Chemical Engineering. The title of Hao's dissertation is Controlling Lubricated Sliding Friction for Soft Solids. Hao is being hooded by Anand Jagoda. Kang-Ye Lee and Dr. Snyder, please come forward. Kang-Ye earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial and Systems Engineering. The title of Kang-Ye's dissertation is Inventory Management for Supply Chains with Uncertainty. Kang-Ye will be hooded by Larry Snyder. Bian Lee and Dr. Yang, please come forward. Bian earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial and Systems Engineering. The title of Bian's dissertation is Koopman Operator-Based Numerical Methods and Neural Network-Based Models for Differential Equations. Bian is being hooded by Xu Yang. Dan Lowe and Dr. Davison, please come forward. Dan earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science. The title of Dan's dissertation is Learning from Implicit Feedback for Unbiased Learning to Rank. Dan is being hooded by Brian Davison. Connor McNamara and Dr. Chan, please come forward. Connor earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Material Science and Engineering. The title of Connor's dissertation is Kinetic Modeling of Solid-State Reaction Synthesis of Single Crystals. Connor is being hooded by Helen Chan. Christopher Rule and Dr. Banerjee, please come forward. Christopher earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Christopher's dissertation is Toward Creating a Laboratory Twin of High-Energy Tidal Sites. Christopher is being hooded by Arindam Banerjee. John Tolbert and Dr. Chow, please come forward. John earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Polymer Science and Engineering. The title of John's dissertation is Investigating and Controlling the Mechanical Properties of Solvent Cast Constructs for Tunable Biomaterial Scaffolds. John is being hooded by Leslie Chow. Vumsidara Vamuri and Dr. Strandwich, please come forward. Vumsidara earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Material Science and Engineering. The title of Vumsidara's dissertation is Developing Aluminum and Hafnium-Based Hybrid Molecular and Atomic Layer Deposited Films for Low-K Etch Stop Applications. Vumsidara is being hooded by Nick Strandwitz. Guanyang Xu and Dr. Aztecan, please come forward. Guanyang earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Guanyang's dissertation is Computational Study and Optimization of Nanoparticle Focusing in Microfluidic Devices. Guanyang is being hooded by Alp Aztecan. Imad Youngmoor, Dr. Naito, and Dr. Suleiman, please come forward. Imad earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Structural Engineering. The title of Imad's dissertation is Developing a Cold Thermal Energy Storage System by Using Phase Change Material Encapsulated in Pervious Concrete. Imad is being hooded by Clay Naito and Mohamed Suleiman. Munqing Zhen and Dr. Yang, please come forward. Mu Qing earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial and Systems Engineering. The title of Mu Qing's dissertation is Quantum Algorithm Implementations and a Classical Look on Quantum Error Mitigation. Mu Qing is being hooded by Xu Yang. Mei Shan Wu and Dr. Brown, please come forward. Mei Shan earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Chemical Engineering. The title of Mei Shan's dissertation is Development of Antibiotic Encapsulated Escherichia coli Outer Membrane Vesicles as Novel Antibiotic Agent to Overcome Resistance Mechanism. Mei Shan is being hooded by Angela Brown. Tianjun Han and Dr. Mourad, please come forward. Tianjun earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Tianjun's dissertation is Advancing High-Performance Bio-Inspired Propulsion, Investigating the Physics of Non-Uniform Flexibility, Unsteady Ground Effect, and Schooling Interactions. Tianjun is being hooded by Keith Mourad. Shen Wang and Dr. Vermaak, please come forward. Shen earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Shen's dissertation is On the Inelastic Response of Materials, Structures, and Composite Systems, Numerical and Experimental Studies in Cyclic Plasticity and Hypoplasticity. Shen is being hooded by Natasha Vermaak. Shouyu Wang, Dr. Naito, Dr. Queel, and Dr. Suleiman, please come forward. Shouyu earned a doctorate in structural engineering. The title of Shouyu's dissertation is Sensible Thermal Energy Storage in Concrete Media. Shouyu is being hooded by Clay Naito, Spencer Queel, and Mohamed Suleiman. Jiao Rui Zhang and Dr. Yang, please come forward. Jiao Rui earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Civil Engineering. The title of Jiao Rui's dissertation is Exploring the Food, Energy, Water Nexus, Insights from Coevolution in Coupled Natural Human Systems. Jiao Rui is being hooded by Ethan Yang. Boyoung Zhu and Dr. Jedlicka, please come forward. Boyoung earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Engineering. Boyoung's dissertation is A Cloud-Edge Collaboration Approach to Drone Cyber-Physical Systems. Boyoung is being hooded by Sabrina Jedlicka.
Guangyi Li and Dean DeWorth, please come forward. Guan Yi earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering. The title of Guan Yi's dissertation is Towards Safe Learning and Perception-Based Networked Control Systems, a Risk-Aware Approach. Guan Yi will be hooded by Stephen DeWorth.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Engineering and Master of Science please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the master's degree in a field of specialization and, upon recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees, is presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Engineering or Master of Science, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the master's degree recipients with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite the master's degree recipients from the P.C. Rawson College of Engineering and Applied Science forward to be individually recognized.
Jack Robert Peterson.
Alexander Bila Arteaga. Alyssa Janine Griffin. Juan Joseph Wayne Barker. Amy Lynn Canali. Eli Brown.
Ryan Kenneth Witcherly.
Sean P. Coulter.
Taryn Lowe Ross.
Nicholas Altendorfer.
Catherine Springsteen.
Samuel I. Goff.
Nicole Ann Witherell.
Cole Marcus Beckerman. Gabriella Laura Dagus. Chanel D'Angelo. Max Frederick Brown. Justin Bartholomew Galinsky.
Constantine Nicholas Patmanidis.
Caitlin Elizabeth G.
Catherine Wyman Potter.
Julia Majel Hellison.
Alicia Lynn Stein.
Chen Yuang Huang.
Yihang Son.
Tian Yu Gao.
Wan Chung Zhang.
Bo Wei Huang.
Si Chiao Yin.
Joby Glimpf.
Chiang Shun Ni.
Mehran Bahrami.
Yuan Zhang.
Xiyang Hu.
David William Schaefer.
Xu Jingfeng.
Christopher Paul Steinman.
Mark Hamati. Zhe Yang Liu. Samuel Joseph Canup.
Boa Jong.
Rehan Gularius.
Avani V. Pisapati.
Nikita Ramakant Chowdhury.
Natapan Patsuk.
Chansi Priya Chalagundla.
Sukain Hamal Sheikh.
Kaushik Jagani.
Hirul Ashok Patel.
Aishwarya Sagar Danda Gawal.
Spencer Thomas Smith. Xin Ying Zhou.
Hai Bo Liu. David Alonso Cornejo Leon.
Jason Spencer Russick.
Luke Spencer Hale. Sawantida Pilar Straub. Abraham Levi Berlin.
Grace B. Sun. Han Shui Wang. Reza Valazada. Han Soon.
Shirin Lotfaliani.
Ha Ling Wang. Lindsay Marie Ockletree.
Juan Lai.
Alexander John Romanowski.
Hitesh Javare Gowda. Michael Dominic Constantino. Ayush Bansal. Cassandra Grace Farrell. Jailene Garcia.
Danielle Eve Prekop.
Yash Hemant Doshi. Cameron Ann Lakaitis. David Connor Patrick Hazlitt.
Evan John Rubin.
Mariam Induta Juma.
Angela Christina Rees.
Megan K. Carroll.
Zachary J. Rowland. Mark Antonio Soda Jr. Alexandria Lane Pellet. Anna Victoria Smith. Leonardo Santens. Bing Chu Zhou. Zhu Kai Wang.
Juan Sebastian Ramirez Rajiles.
Julia Aurora Sal. Jacqueline Miller. Allison Page Martin. Shilpa Yanamawa. Shashank Vankadari. Benjamin John Zalatan.
I now recognize Elizabeth Dolan, Dean of the College of Health.
Good morning. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge this historic moment as the students about to receive their degrees represent our first cohort of graduates from Lehigh's College of Health. Congratulations to you all. Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Public Health and Master of Science please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the master's degree in a field of specialization, and upon the recommendation of the faculty and by vote of the Board of Trustees, is presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates of our first cohort from the College of Health, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Public Health or Master of Science with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the master's degree recipients with our hearty congratulations and applause. The ushers will now invite the master's degree recipients from the College of Health forward to be individually recognized.
Abigail Eliza Breyer.
Jenna Lynn Mondovich.
Sankar Chandra Debnath.
Ashley Desiree Penn. Vanessa Nalini Singh. Christine Helen Tanasi. Se-U Wang.
Sankar Chandra Debnath.
I now ask Georgette Chapman Phillips, the Kevin L. Clayton and Lisa A. Clayton Dean of the College of Business to return to the podium.
President Helbley, I present to you the candidates for the inter-college programs from the College of Business and the P.C. Rawson College of Engineering and Applied Science for the degree of Master of Science in Financial Engineering, Master of Business Administration and Engineering, and Master of Educational Leadership and Business Administration. Will these candidates, for the candidates for these degrees, please rise as you are able? President Helbley, each of these candidates has completed the requirements for the master's degree in a field of specialization, and upon recommendation of the faculty and by the vote of the Board of Trustees, they are presented to you to receive that degree.
Candidates, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Science in Financial Engineering, Master of Business Administration and Engineering, or Master of Educational Leadership and Business Administration with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Please recognize the master's degree recipients with our hearty congratulations and applause.
Wasti Farzan Khan.
Haiwen Su.
Joao Ji-Won Lee.
Oluwadara Joshua Ofuluwe.
Zhu Cheng Huang. Noah Arthur Levine. Bernard Kang.
Samuel Mandelbrot.
Idris Lotpuri.
Let's give all of our graduates from our graduate programs a hearty round of applause. Congratulations. Lehigh graduates, families and friends, faculty and staff, and all who are here to celebrate with us today, what a beautiful sight seeing all of you assembled to celebrate your success. All of you assembled here undeterred by a little bit of rain. All of you undeterred while we took a minute or two to get our stage directions right at the beginning, to celebrate your success. To celebrate your completion of this journey, just one part of the great adventure that represents each of your unique lives. When social media, headlines, and political discourse scream other, seeing one another as different, how wonderful to see all of you assembled together and to reflect on what that represents, what you represent. 352 of you graduating today. 352 unique individuals, 352 individual stories, all connected by one university. Stories that, as we heard today, include masters in a broad range of fields, Doctor of Education, Doctor of Philosophy. I hope you were impressed by the intellectual breadth and depth of the range of fields that was covered today. Extraordinary. Stories that include your homes in Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, all represented here today. 247 of you from the United States, 105 of you calling one of 23 other countries your permanent home, but all of you, each and every one of you, Lehigh. For me, this is an extraordinary and beautiful reminder that in a world too often marked by division, a university truly brings us together to see one another, to hear one another, to listen to one another. For some of you, sometimes to run with one another. And I hope to learn from one another. Like our commencement speaker, Dr. Stephen Tang, I too was struck by New York Times columnist David Brooks' visit to Lehigh just over a month ago, where he shared excerpts from his book, How to Know a Person, The Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Deeply Seen. His book is essentially a plea to use the time we have together to truly understand one another, to, in his words, perform the gestures that actually build trust, care, and affection. In my words, to see the whole person, to observe the whole person, to listen without judgment to the whole person, to not reduce people to their categories, to not ever label. So as you prepare to leave our campus, your Lehigh degrees in hand, I have one simple request for you. Take a few seconds and look around you. Look at the person next to you, in front of you, behind you, and I mean that right now. Please do that. Take a look at the people around you. Right? Perhaps you know them, perhaps you don't. But what you do know is that you share a story with each and every one of them. Domestic or international, master's or doctorate, science or business or arts or education or health or the humanities, you have a shared story. You spent time in Bethlehem, you spent time on this campus, you spent time here today together in a light rain celebrating one another. You're here today, new graduates of Lehigh University, graduate program graduates signifying deep expertise in a particular field, and this is a bond that you will share forever. You're also one of 352 unique individual stories. And if you were to strike up a conversation with that person next to you or in front of you or behind you, where would you begin? You'd begin, I'd wager, with what you have in common. You'd begin with that shared story. I ask you this, I make this point in my closing words to you as you're about to leave our campus, to say that here today, it's easy. You know that you have Lehigh in common, you're all wearing the same color robes, that's a sign that you have a point of connection. But out there, beyond today, not so obvious. But trust me, The world is small. There are commonalities that connect us all in ways that will surprise you and astound you and inspire you throughout your lives. It just takes a little effort to find them. So I will ask each of you as you leave here today to not be lazy, to do what you've done here, to do the hard work, to be curious, to seek commonality with every person you meet, to resist the temptation to label, to define someone as other, to think of them as somehow lesser because they're superficially different from you. I ask that you remember what you've learned from one another at Lehigh, that you are unique, but you are connected, and let that connection be a broader reminder of how connected each and every one of us, wherever we find ourselves in life, truly is. Congratulations, graduates. Lehigh is, and I am, extraordinarily proud of you. Well done. And now, please rise as you are able for the benediction and remain standing for the alma mater. Congratulations, Lehigh.
Go forth from this place with joyful hearts, awakened and renewed. Seek justice, attend to the neediest among us, choose vocations that promote peace and cooperation, challenge the world by being the change you wish to see in others. In all of your efforts, in all that you accomplish, in all the obstacles you overcome, may you resolve to make room for faith and love, that you might, with open minds and compassionate hearts, build up this fragile world. Let kindness guide you into fellowship with the source of all life and mystery, and with all who are your neighbor, that you might know peace and bring it to others, this day and evermore. Blessings on you. Amen.